Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and it is so good to have a longtime colleague and guest and friend back in the studio after, I want to say, 16 years maybe, or something to that effect. And Kirsten Lindham, she is the executive director of the Foundation for Animal Care and Education, better known as FACE. And how long is it? 2009, is that about right?
That sounds about right, and I feel like we
yesterday.
are buddies, and I want to just reach across the table to give you a virtual hug.
Well, I really appreciate that, and it'd be much appreciated. I knew Kirsten when she was executive director, CEO of a medical research organization, and was a frequent guest on the show, and now going to be on talking about this really critical mission of FACE, the FACE Foundation. As we're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast in our 20th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. 60-plus years of doing great things for people living in San Diego County, whether it's food insecurity, whether it's the arts, homelessness, Alzheimer's. If there's a big cause, Mission Fed is usually there shoulder to shoulder with a lot of folks. Kirsten, just talk a little bit about the mission of the FACE Foundation.
We understand that animals are part of their families. They're our pets, they're our family members, and emergencies happen to them just as much to us unfurry people. And when disaster strikes, and it can come very easily by just jumping off a wall, jumping off a ledge inside or outside the house, when emergency hits, the bill comes very quickly and very high. So if you have a dog or a cat and you take them to the vet, and it's something very serious, unplanned, usually the bill that is being suggested, the cost is higher than most of us anticipate. And that is where FACE can step in. If there's an emergency case and the pet mom or dad is of low financial means, and the vet will say, yes, if we do emergency surgery, this pet has a very good prognosis to be with you for years to come, then the FACE Foundation will give a grant that becomes directly payable to the veterinary clinic.
Yeah, and if anybody has been in that situation, which many of us have been, myself included, and certainly I was fortunate enough to have the means to take care of it when we had to take care of a dog whose stomach flipped, which is not unusual for tall dogs, as you know. But listen, it's a pretty substantial bill, and so we were able to take care of it. But I think it is just remarkable what you folks do. So if that situation happens, and so you've got a dog that's in that situation, and we're not necessarily talking about a dog that's toward the end of his or her life, correct? It's a dog that the vet thinks has got some years left.
So what is a dog's life?
Right.
It's kind of hard to define, and what is a senior dog? So many people say 7 and older, and of course it's breed dependent as well.
Exactly.
But we do accept senior cases as well.
Right. Exactly. And then when it happens, because these things, as you mentioned, happen fast, okay? And we all know these different situations with dogs, whether they get in an accident or just life in general with them. How quickly can FACE get on board on this? I mean, you now bring it to the vet, and the person tells, the dog or cat owner or whoever, what type of animal it is, here's the deal. If we do X, it's going to cost $7,000, okay, but we think we can save the dog's life or cat's life, and it'll have X amount. Do they call you immediately? How does that work?
So let me answer a slightly different question and then come to what
Okay.
you're really asking, if I may.
Yeah.
So how do people find us?
Yeah.
They find us by being basically in shock with looking at a high bill.
Right.
And they do a Google search and find us. Or perhaps more frequently, the veterinarian says, "Are you aware of FACE?" And so then what happens is the pet mom or dad goes online, fills out a application, and once everything is submitted to assess that there's really financial need, and we have the documentation from the veterinarian that the prognosis is positive, then it's very quick that we approve. Obviously, in an emergency case, you don't have the time to call in a committee and ponder what you want to do, and staff is empowered to make decisions on the spot. The two staff who are working on that particular part of our organizations have been with us for 6 and 11 years respectively. They know their stuff in and out. They're very good at what they do, and they make decisions very quickly.
Right. Now, obviously, there's only a finite amount of money that, unless FACE Foundation is sitting on, Bill Gates money or whatever the case may be.
Not exactly.
Right. Exactly. So, obviously, you have to, make sure there's enough in the coffers to do X, Y, and Z, correct? That's why there's always opportunities, which we'll talk about a little bit later, about fundraising, which is critical in this. Is there a limit of what you would fund if someone comes in and the surgery or the procedure or whatever the case may be will cost $20,000 or whatever the case, and that's just something you can't do?
So we're going to be talking about this a little bit later. We're celebrating our 20th anniversary this year, which means that we have very established relationships in the community.
Right.
So we work with many, many veterinary clinics in San Diego County, and we have agreements with them. So when they work with us out the gate, they discount their rates by 25%. Our average case is at about $3,200 where the average grant is about $3,200,
Okay.
But it varies. There's, if you have a cat that's being bitten to pieces by a coyote, and there's a total reconstruction of the jaw necessary, that's one cost. If you have a dog that has very significant dental issues, that's a different cost. So we have a price table that we use as a guide. There's a little bit of room to negotiate, but we've been doing this for so long. Our staff is very well versed with what is a reasonable cost. And our partners, hats off to them, they're very flexible with us too.
Right. Now, in some of the cases, does the pet owner also chip in as well? That
Yes.
We can pay for 82% of this, okay, but we can't pay for 100. And
so 82% is high. That
Okay.
would be high.
Yeah.
So many of the people we help are of lower means. So very many are on government assistance. We have military people. We have single people. We have seniors. And so a lot of the people we serve are of low means, and they may pay some, but they don't pay outrageous percentages.
Right, we're chatting with Kristen Lyman. She is the executive director of the Foundation for Animal Care and Education, better known as FACE. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, nation's longest-running community podcast, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. Been doing great things in our community for more than 60-plus years. So you've saved 5,000 lives. That is absolutely unbelievable. And the look on the faces of the pet owners is priceless, correct?
We get lovely thank you notes back.
Imagine.
And let that just sink in. Close your eyes for a second. Think about your family pet that you may have grown up with, or that your kids have grown up with. And not having your pet with you makes such a huge difference. They're part of you. They're part of you, and it's, for me personally, very gratifying to have a small role in prolonging the time the pet gets to live with the family and the family with the pet.
Yeah, again, San Diego, we've been fortunate enough to have on the show one of our close friends and colleagues, Dr. Gary Weitzman, who is the president and CEO of the San Diego Humane Society. Probably, I'm a little prejudiced, probably one of the top humane societies in the country. And we always ask Gary, to just reaffirm that San Diego is considered, if not the number one, pet-friendly or animal-friendly city in the country. But he believes it. He says the folks in this community, in this county, really care about their animals and do a great job with
Amen.
that. Right. So you've been in the position now for how long?
6 months to the day, I think.
Right. How'd you find that? How'd you find the organization? Because you've been involved in other things that not necessarily involved pets.
Well, LinkedIn and social media is my friend.
Okay.
And I saw the posting and I thought, well, this looks lovely. Let's give this a closer look. And I met the people, and I will say one of the greatest joys of being there is meeting the community in and around the Face Foundation. The caliber of people is phenomenal, and they propel us to do our work every day.
Yeah. So there's a lot of veterinarians, and certainly we know
Yes.
that in our county on that aspect, and I know a lot of them are shorthanded as well. It's a whole another topic as well. I'm not sure how much that
Hard work, very hard work.
Hard work, and listen, they also have bills to pay and
Yes.
so forth, as we all know in that area. Let's touch base just a little bit on the 20th anniversary of FACE. It's going to be on November the 8th at the Natural History Museum in Balboa Park. Web page is coming for that, but talk about the event.
The event is going to be a celebration of our 20 years. We are inviting many members of our community. It's important to us to reflect who we are at this event. And in addition to just looking at what we've accomplished, we are also, of course, going to focus on now what. We are still growing. We've been around for 20 years, but we have many more good years left in us, and this event will propel us for that. There's, of course, a lot of fundraising that's associated with the event. Corporate sponsorships play a big role in that, and we are putting a lot of effort into making that look attractive and making it work well for us. The event is in the museum, so we looked very carefully at where do we want to do it, so it has a very nice holding, if you will. It's very engaging, but it's also comfortable, and that's important to us. We're looking forward to an event with many people mingling, seeing old friends again, and just having a grand old time together.
Are pets welcome at the event?
So some pets will be there. So we have
Some of the survivors will be there?
Some of the survivors will be there. That's right.
Right.
That's right.
That makes all the sense in the
Nicely
world.
put.
Yeah. Well, they are. I mean,
they are.
absolutely. When's the website going to be up so people can contribute? They can buy tickets. They can sponsor. They can do exhibits or whatever else you have.
So the corporate sponsorship site is up. It's under faceforpets.org/sponsors. The website itself is being built right now, and I told our co-founder earlier this week, if it's not up by the end of the month, Kirsten is going to have a conniption.
We don't want to have Kirsten to have a conniption. I'm sure that'll be fine. Again, that's going to be November the 8th. I'm assuming it's an evening event.
Yeah, open doors 5:30,
Right.
and we want our guests to have some time to enjoy the beautiful museum. And the museum, man, they're just wonderful. They're great hosts, and they're super welcoming.
Okay. We come back from break. I want to talk a little about the 5th anniversary of Wagon Purr Resale Boutique, if I got that right. And as you remember from some of our other interviews back in the day when you came on as a guest, we always save time in the second half of the interview. What can our listeners do to support the organization, whether
Awesome.
it's volunteering, contributing, donating, everything in between? We return with Kirsten Lynham. She is the executive director of the Foundation for Animal Care and Education, better known as FACE. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. We'll be right back after this short break.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. We've been chatting with Kirsten Lynham. She is the Executive Director of the Foundation for Animal Care and Education, better known as FACE. Our Spotlight on the Community show is in its 20th year, nation's longest-running community podcast, brought to you by the fine folks at Mission Fed Credit Union, 60-plus years. It's doing great things for folks living in San Diego County. All right, we talked about the 20th anniversary of FACE. The event will be at the Natural History Museum in Balboa Park on November the 8th. Sponsorships are available, but take a look at the website for more information coming. You just saved your 5,000th life as of late June. But what's this 5th anniversary of Wagon Per Resale Boutique? What is that all about?
It's a very interesting, unique, and beautiful way to augment our fundraising. One of our co-founders likes nice things, and she has friends who like nice things, and we sell previously loved luxury items like purses, jewelry, those kinds of things. The website is accessible through our website, wagonper.org. They have their own website as well. And all the proceeds from that resale boutique come directly to save more lives.
Yeah, the stories, we talked about 5,000 lives being saved, and every life is, obviously that person, anybody who is a pet owner just knows how critical this is in this area. Do you have a story that just jumps out at you? You probably got 5,000 of those stories that jump out at you. But is there one that just, I want to share?
So we recently published a story where we fundraised for a dog that we left unnamed. We just referred to him as Pup, the pup. And we did that because Mom was in a shelter. Okay. There was some domestic violence involved. She had her daughter with her, and she was reunited with that dog, and the dog ended up having a problem and needed emergency care. So we ended up sponsoring that case. So we have a lot of houseless people we support. And it was just so lovely the way how Mom responded to this as well. She said it was a tearful reunification with the dog, and needless to say, we can all imagine how tough that woman's life is with her daughter in a shelter, and then on top of that, having issues that might cost the life of the family pet, who was the emotional support for the daughter, unspeakable. So it was so gratifying to be able to step up, and our donors did beautifully. They went all in and helped us fund the case.
Yeah, and we've been fortunate enough to have Deacon Jim Vargas on the show quite a bit. Jim is the president and CEO of Father Joe's Villages, and we talk a lot about the folks, whether they're on the streets or whether they're housed. That dog might be the only thing in that person's life. or that cat or that parrot or that whatever, correct?
Well, and for a dog or a cat, every day is a new day, and you
Right.
start fresh and with smiles, and they love unconditionally. And no matter how hard your life is, you look at your dog or your cat, and you can't help but smile.
Right.
What a gift!
Do you certainly treat dogs and cats, other pets?
Yes, rarely, but yes. I think there has even been an iguana we saved before.
Right, exactly. All right. So obviously, but it's a pet, and pets are
Pet is
pets.
pet, yep,
Yeah,
yep.
pets are pet.
They're not all furry. We refer to them as our furry family members, but they're not all furry.
Right, exactly. So you mentioned about the fundraising, whether it's going to be at the 20th anniversary events or doing the boutique, and that aspect of it. Certainly, that's the most important thing, so you can help offset the costs of these surgeries or these things that we need to do to make sure we sustain the life of the pet in this area of it. Are there other things that people can do to support you besides donations?
Yeah, engagement is the name of the game. We love for people to follow us on Insta in particular or Facebook and share what we post with their friends. So sharing the word, spreading the word is incredibly important. It doesn't cost money. It just takes a few seconds to repost something on your own site. We are rebuilding our volunteer corps as well. The event itself will take a lot of volunteers, but volunteers are not just there to lessen the delegatable workload in a foundation. I believe volunteers is also your group of ambassadors who can help spread the word. So we're trying to rebuild that on both sides of that equation.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about this earlier. Certainly, there's many challenges to what you folks are doing, but probably no one greater than the increased cost of veterinary care. Talk about that.
So we all know it takes more dollars to make the way to whatever we want to accomplish. Inflation is real, especially for mid and lower income people. And the cost of veterinary care has also changed. There is a lot of change in the industry of veterinary care too. There's a lot of merging going on, a lot of buyout of clinics, and a lot of corporate and investment money in the clinics as well. And that changes the equation and the motivation a bit too. So for people who work in veterinary clinics, life has changed for them a lot, and consequently also as a customer, as a pet parent, when you come, costs are changing. Everything is getting more expensive, including veterinary care, and it's extra hard because that's not an expense that we all plan for necessarily. I think most people plan for, okay, it costs me about X dollars to feed my pet, costs X dollars to get a flea collar on a regular basis. All those things kind of work, but when you have these bumps in expense that you are unaware of, that is when it hits your heart, and that is why FACE is so important.
Yeah, and again, as you've seen these things jump, and they have jumped in these areas, and the last thing you want to do is get to the point is, geez, can I afford to actually bring my dog in? It seems every time, or cat, whatever the case may be, you do that, it's $500 just to walk in the door. Okay.
Yeah, well, and what's on the other side of the equation, right?
Right.
If you can't afford it, it's euthanasia, and
right.
that's what we're about. We want to avoid avoidable or economically motivated euthanasia.
Right. Now, is FACE Foundation, is it a national group? Is it just local? Are there other FACE foundations around the country?
We are very much San Diego County based. We spread a little bit beyond our county borders from time to time, but essentially we're San Diego County based. We experimented for a couple of years based on relationships that we had in Oahu, a Hawaii secondary site, that the board decided last October to sunset. We are very into our core business here in San Diego County.
Yeah, it would seem to me that why wouldn't there be in other entities, especially major cities or any city for that matter, groups that do this, and they're just not. Is that correct?
No, there are some.
Some, right?
There's some others. I think one of the differences is that the way how we structure our support, we tend to give more per case than many others. And we get phone calls from time to time. Hey, how are you doing this? Can you help us? And then we talk to them. And it's just hard to build it to where we are. And it took us 20 years to get where we're at, too.
Right. But you focus on those animals that are in San Diego County, correct? So if you're getting a call
Yes.
from Orange County or LA County, not really, correct? Or possibly?
So we do a lot of service for other places as well. We do get a lot of phone calls from out of state, and the ladies who answer the phone, they, as I mentioned, they've been around for a very long time. They have resource lists, and they tend to help people get linked up locally. So if it's Riverside County or Orange County, so we happen to have a very good working relationship with a clinic in Murrieta. So there is a little bit of bleeding outside of the county line. So I think the most honest answer is it depends. But to say that there's no service outside of San Diego County would be wrong too.
Right. Well, good for you folks, for doing that. So anyone listening to this, podcast, obviously donate
Yes,
to
please.
the Face Foundation. That's the understatement of the world. Come to the events, 20th anniversary event that's going to be at the Natural History Museum on November the 8th. And, of course, the 5th anniversary of the Wagon Per Resale Boutique. But listen, anytime you can contribute, and $5 is fine. They're not going to turn down $5 million, but whatever you can do is really important.
Every dollar counts, and speaking as a private person, not necessarily a face person, I think it just feels good to do something good that is beyond your immediate need.
Well, again, those people who are, pet owners and understand what it means to have this pet that is
Yes.
with your kids since they were little, or this is your life with the pet, know in 5 seconds what you folks are doing, and they certainly understand what would happen if it was their beloved pet that was in this situation and they couldn't afford it.
Yeah, pets add something to the dynamic of a family
They
that's
do.
so precious and irreplaceable. So my own daughter says, "Mom, I don't know if I would have gotten through teenage years without Louis." So we had a papillon during those years, and man, that dog had such a role in the family. And I know every dog, every cat has a real role, and that's what we're protecting.
Yeah, well, we can all go down our list of that, and we're the same way. We're a dog family. I've had dogs the whole time, and my daughter would say the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And now is enjoying our 3-year-old Jackson. So
Very nice.
Yes, very was the ring bearer in her recent wedding. So that was did a great job,
awesome.
by the way. I thought he was going to be sprinting down the beach, and there go the rings, but he did a good job. Kirsten Line, always a pleasure. What a joy to see you after all these years.
Same here.
They couldn't have chosen a better executive director of the Foundation for Animal Care and Education, better known as FACE. Shout out the website one more time.
It is face4pets.org. Face4pets.org. Come once, come often, and drop a few coins.
That sounds like a plan over here. Good seeing you again. And to our audience, we hope you enjoyed this edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, nation's longest-running community podcast. We're in our 20th year, brought to you by the fine folks at Mission Fed Credit Union, 6 decades of doing great things for people living in our region. And to our audience, we hope you enjoyed the interview.
And thank you to Mission Fed and you, Drew. Thank you so much.
You're very kind. Thanks so much, Kirsten.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.